You can put them in the chat box. I want to, if you, okay, Sister Sekinat is compiling the questions. Okay, that's very good. So I can go ahead. So let me show you some of these funds as well, so that you can, because the good thing about a lot of these mutual funds actually is that a lot of them are you can do them from the comfort of your house or your phone or your laptop, right? Technology has made everything very, very easy. So I showed you Musafa before. So this is Comex. I talked about Comex. So Comex is where you can invest in commodities. And if you go to their website, you would see the you would see the numbers on some of the commodities that they have available. And it's very easily you can open an account. And once you have access to the app, it's the name of the app is Comex. You would see all the commodities they have and what it has done. They have commodities that have done 30%, 18% just between January and now, right? So it's really these are opportunities for us, right, as Muslims, that we can benefit from. Now I talked about portfolio as well. 1 second. Okay, so this is what portfolio looks like. Okay, so portfolio is an app that you can easily download on your phone, on your web, on the web, and all of that. And from there, you can buy all these stocks that we talked about, the ETFs, the SPUS, so let me show you, for example. So if you come here, SPUS, yeah. So you can see that the SPUS is the S&P it's listed by a company called Sharia Portfolio, which is based in Canada, and they have looked at all the companies in the S&P 500, which is the main index for the US stock market, and they have taken out the ones that are not Sharia compliant. So when you see it, you can see that it's saying that the S&P 500 Sharia industry exclusions. So they've screened it with all the laws that we have as Muslims, and they've come up with, the ones that are. So when you buy into this SPUS, for example, you are buying a bunch of companies all together. It's a basket, right? This is available. Now, if you want to check yourself, how these companies have been doing, Yahoo Finance is a it's a all these resources are free, by the way. You don't need to pay anybody for downloading them until you are ready to invest. So you can even if you are not ready to start investing, you can download all of them and just start looking at them and looking at how and start navigating your way around them. So for example, the Wahid ETF I talked about earlier, right? You can see the information here on Yahoo Finance once you type it in, and you can easily see their top holdings. So it's all very transparent. If you can still see my screen, so these are the companies that you have in that ETF, for example. So when you buy a share of that ETF, you're automatically buying into all these companies that you have here. Unfortunately, we don't have Wahid on portfolio for those of us that live in Nigeria. So let me put SPUS here. Here you would be able to see all the companies that are in the SPUS. So this is the SPUS. Look at the top holdings here, right? So when you buy the SPUS, you are automatically buying, so you can see Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, Alphabet, Tesla, Nvidia. These are companies in different industries. Okay, someone says they can't see my screen. Please, if you can see my screen, can you just confirm that you're seeing my screen?
Can
So
everyone
that we
see
know
my
whether
screen?
you can see my screen.
No, I'm asking. I can see
Yes,
your
I
screen.
can.
Okay,
Okay.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. So, good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Someone say, can I explain the percentages in green and red? Okay, so let me look at what you're talking about. So yeah, the percentages in green and red. So it means that on the last trading day, which was yesterday, the stock market is closed on Saturday and Sunday. On the last trading day, this fund lost 0.02%, right? And then after hours, which is after the stock market has closed, there are still some apps that give you that you're able to buy, you're able to buy some stock. So the stock has gone up after hours, but I usually work with the because the markets will not be open until 2:30 p.m. on Monday, right? So so this is where it is when it opens officially on Monday that you can know that, okay, has the stock gone up or down. But like I said, again, for the stock markets, you don't put funds that you need to have a long time horizon. I think that is much more important, much more than anything. If there's anything you would take away from this, you don't go into the stock market and going with putting your maybe your children's school fees or your rent or something that you would need within the next 2 to 3 years. Really, you really need to do your budgeting and planning very well, because in the long term, in the short term, it's possible for the stock market to come down, right? But in the long term, um, it is usually up. So let me show you um, this this um, this slide where it shows the 5 year, the 5 year outlook. So if, for example, I put Apple, for example, even though right now, year to date, Apple has dropped year to date by like a lot. But for new people that are just going in, like I said, this is a good time. Despite all the volatility in the stock market now, you can see that Apple has still done 255.30% if you had bought it 5 years ago, right? And coupled with, I mean, we're all Nigerians, we know what the exchange rate is saying now, the exchange rate for the naira to the dollar. So imagine that you had put um, a little money in Apple 5 years ago. Right now, not only would you have gained on the exchange rates, you would also have gained on the stock price, right? So I think having dollar denominated investments is also something that we want to look at as well. So if you come here, you will see that in the past 5 years, but if you look at just 3 months ago, it might be red. But if your horizon is 5 years, 5 years, you see that most of these stocks are doing very well if you have that long time frame. So for Lotus, I also said I would show you the company. So I went to their website, but I wasn't able to see a recent document. But as at 2 years ago, this was but I'm sure they can share the most recent one. So you can look, if you look at this, look at my screen, you will see all the stocks that they have in their ETF. Remember I mentioned that for Nigerian stocks, I prefer to do ETF. Some people prefer to buy the stocks directly. It's also an option, but you can see that once you buy the Lotus ETF, for example, you can see that you're automatically buying into 14 Sharia compliant stocks at the same time. So that also sort of edges your risk, as well. And then the last thing I want to show you here is the Stanbic IBTC, for the Stanbic IBTC funds that I talked about. So this was shared, this is on their website, by the way. All these documents are public documents. They are not, if you go to their assets, the Stanbic IBTC asset management website, right? You can easily download this there. And then as at last month, which is April, I know they update it at the end of every month. So these are all the funds they have. They have about 15 funds. But for us Muslims, if you look at the ones that are, so this first one now is, okay, let me go to the beginning of the page. So this is the money market fund, for example. This is not Sharia compliance. This is the first one. This is another fund, a short term. This is also not compliant. So this is the one that we can invest in. It is the Stanbic IBTC Sharia Fixed Income Fund. And as you can see, they have about 93% in Sukuk and 7% in short-term Sharia compliant investments. Now, so far this year, so this is moderately conservative. As you can see, it's conservative. It's probably very low risk. The minimum amount you can invest, you can start with as little as 5,000 naira, right? And last year, so you would also see the historical fund performance. And I would also like to mention that historical fund performance is not an indicator of the future, but at least it gives us some, data that we can work with, right? So 2019, you can see the percentage annual 4.18. 2020, it did about 6.59. Last year, it did about 5.28. And so far this year, it has done about 1%. Now, it looks like this is small, but again, like I said, we all have different, so that money that you just leave in your account that is being eaten by inflation and devaluation, you can easily put it in this fund. And the good thing about it is that it's open-ended. So if you need, so money that you probably need for like short term, you are going to need the money in the next 3 to 6 months, you can easily put it in this type of fund, right? Because you can withdraw anytime you need your money. So that's the first one, that is Sharia compliance. This is guaranteed investment. This is not Sharia compliant. This is the dollar fund, also not Sharia compliant. And then it will come to the second one that they have. Yes, this is the Stanbic IBTC Iman Fund. So this is also Sharia compliant for Muslims, right? Because everything they invest in are things that fall within the things that we believe in as Muslims and we follow. Now, the difference between the Iman fund and the first one is that if you look at the risk profile, this is an aggressive fund, which means that this is like stocks. So there's a chance that the investment might go down, right? Just like the US stocks goes up and down. I think the Nigerian stocks, they follow the same as well. So they invest a small portion in Sukuk, and they invest most of it in stocks. But if you look at the returns, for example, 5 years ago, it did about 84%. 3 years ago, it did about 47%. Okay, no, sorry, these are the annual averages. Now, from 2019, they actually did a negative, right? But in 2020, this fund did about 38.68%, right? Last year, if you had put in your money, it did 10.93%. Year to date, we are in May. Now, the fund has done about 8.34%. So these are options that are available for us. But keep in mind that past results are not an indicator of future results, but it just gives us an idea of, what options are available to us as Muslims. And like I said, this is Stanbic IBTC. All these things are regulated. There will not be story that the company folded down. They did this, they did that. For low risk and government regulated investment. These are good options for us Muslims to take care of, to enjoy. So this is an ethical fund. It's just ethical, it's not Sharia compliant. So you need to look out for the Sharia compliance in the description. So I think I wanted to share that. And then the last thing I want to share here before I continue is the club I talked about, the Smart Halal Investor Club. So full disclosure, all these organizations, I'm not affiliated to them in any way, but I feel like, this is information that is out there that a lot of people don't know about. So I don't have, they have not sent me, so to speak, right? But these are options that are available for us, as Muslims. So Smart Halal Investor Club is a club that was founded by Ridwan Sanusi, I think, like 1.5 years ago, right? And what they do is that as Muslims, as we are looking for Sharia compliant investment opportunities, we also have Muslim businesses that are also looking for, non-interest sources of funding. So what he has done is just to, kind of put those two together. So you can join the club. They have different types of membership. And then what they do in the club is to, it's more of a cooperative. So this is like a cooperative. It's not, it is not an investment organization. But what they've just done is to, like, Muslims coming together to invest in other Muslim businesses. What they would now do is that they would do the extra job of screening those businesses for, they will look at the business history, they will look at, your business structure. Do you have a high chance of paying people's money back? Because they also have their own, they don't want to invest in businesses where stories would come around. So, and I think they've been doing a very good job so far, alhamdulillah. But the opportunities here are more of local opportunities. Once in a while, they also bring some foreign opportunities, but you have, local companies, Nigerian companies, businesses that are owned by Muslims who need financing for their business, right? And they also do, if you come to their website as well, so you can go to their website to get more information. They also have a lot of, information on financial literacy, all this Islamic financing terminologies for those that want to also learn as they go along their investment journey. So that is also an option for us. And then finally, before I leave this page, I wanted to show you something that calculates the power of compounding. Now, somebody might look at all these things and say, oh, if I start investing 5,000 naira, it doesn't make sense. What will I do with 5,000 naira? 5,000 naira is very small, right? It won't amount to anything. But guess what? 5,000 naira is better than nothing at all. That I will say to you. Now, if you can do more, the more you can do, the better, which is why everybody, you have to, like the financial audit exercise that we did, you have to, do an audit of your finances, look at where you can, make some adjustments, right? Because you have your why in your mind, and, make sure that if you are earning an income, no matter how small it is, there is absolutely no reason for you not to have something saved and invested. Again, let me repeat that. If you are earning an income, there is absolutely no reason for you not to be investing, because investing is like paying yourself first, right? Yes, there will always be bills, but if you get into the habit of paying yourself first, eventually it will, it will grow. So let me show you this. So for example, if you want to start with just 5,000 naira, 5,000 naira is like, a month, and you're able to, get an investment that does, so like the mutual fund, for example, some of them do like 8%. So I'll put 8% here, and then you do it diligently in 5 years, over 5 years. Every month you transfer the 5,000 to the mutual fund, and you just leave it there, right? You transfer it. So this is what you would have in 5 years. So So this is 367,000 naira. Now, if you had not invested this money, it's possible that, of course, something else would have taken it away. But one thing I have seen from my own personal journey is that when you start, of course, with Alat, Baraka, and Rama, you keep pushing yourself to improve. And before you know it, from 5,000, you're able to do 10,000, you're able to do 20, you're able to do 50. I've even seen some people that say, oh, 50,000 is too small. What will I do with 50,000? And I'm like, really? 50,000 is a lot of money. If I change this to 50,000, if you're able to save 50,000 a month in a low risk, even if that's what you want to do now, just a low risk type of investment, in 5 years, you'll be sitting on 3.6 million naira, right? So the power of compounding cannot be ignored and cannot be overemphasized. The most important thing is to just start, take a look at what some of these options that we've looked at together and just start, right? That's the message that I have on this slide. So are you still with me, Sister Sakina? I hope I've not been talking to myself.
Yes, we are here. Are we tired yet? Or should we keep going? Are we tired?
Yes, let's have some.
Please let me know. Are you tired or should we come and be going?
Yes. Are we tired? Let's have some.
Should we come and be going? We should keep going. Okay. They said we should keep going. Let's keep going.
Okay. Okay. I've seen
drop your
questions.
Please drop your questions. We'll take them, inshallah.
Thank you.
We're not tired though.
We are not tired. Okay, alhamdulillah.
Getting more interesting.
Okay. That's good. Mashallah. Thank you. Okay, so we're actually close to Sister Sakina wanted us to make this as practical as possible. So that's why I'm also showing you all the different sites and Okay. So now, practical steps. What are the practical steps that everybody would, can benefit from? I would usually advise that you save some. You start with saving, of course. Saving 5 to 8 months of living expenses, because we also don't want to. It's good to have sort of like an emergency fund. I know it was one of the questions that I asked earlier about, do we all have emergency fund, but what I would typically do is to put that emergency fund in a very low risk mutual fund and just leave it there, knowing that if I need my money for anything emergency, may Allah protect us from bad emergencies, right? You can get your money within 24 hours. Like, it's that easy. So keep it there, and then you can now start your journey. Because sometimes when you have, something that, at least my expenses for the next 5 to 8 months are somewhere safe, it also gives you the confidence to now continue on the journey and say, okay, let me look at some of these higher risk investments, like the stock market. Stock market, I would say, is high risk because of the volatility. It's not high risk because somebody can run away with your money, right? It's high risk because of the volatility. We also have, what's it called now? We have the equities, we have real estate as well. It's also a good form of storing wealth. But of course, you have to do your due diligence and buy from the correct company. So I've also tried to categorize the different types of investment here, based on your risk appetite. Growth stocks are very high risk. It can go 30% in one day, and it can come down 60% the next day, right? Also, when you invest in startups, so some people will say, oh, I want to start a business, they want money. So by the time you start putting money in all those companies that come around, it's very high risk, and we need to recognize that. So even if you are going into it, you are going into it because you have looked at your risk profile and you feel like, okay, I want to take this risk. not going into it thinking it's low risk, and then it turns out to be high risk, right? And then we have commodities. I've also showed you the commodities, blue chip companies as well. And then that's for medium. And then we have the low risk real estate, the land, hopefully, or house. It will always be there once you buy from the right source, please. And then all these fixed income funds that I showed you from Stanbic, from Lotus, from Marble, they're also sorry, they're also, they can also be categorized as low risk. So based on your risk appetite, I would advise you build your portfolio. Maybe you put some little money in high risk, right? Because the high risk also offer high returns, so you also don't want to put all your money in, 8%, 7%. You also have some high risk investments. They would be able to do like 20, 25, which are very good returns, so you want to put a small portion of your money there and put about 35% in medium risk, and of course put the rest in low risk. So these percentages can be adjusted based on your own personal situation and your risk appetites. So rounding up, my final notes really would be that please, we need to plan. So being here is a step in the right direction. Coming to learn about what options are available. But what is most important is not just learning, is actually acting on what you've learned, right? Act on what you've learned, engage, ask more questions, and then rinse and repeat. So I'm not a scholar, right? Allah knows best in all situations. But of course, I'm also learning. In fact, even during the course of preparing for this, I also learned one or two new things myself, which is why I feel like, we're all students of knowledge. You learn, then you share what you learn with other people, and then you keep learning, and you hope those other people also share, with other people as well. And then I'll leave you with this quote that says that, of course, through knowledge and discipline, financial peace is possible for all of us. And then finally, please, you have to take responsibility for your finances, or you need to get used to taking orders for the rest of your life. I'm sure that we all don't want to be in that position. So you're either a master of money or a slave to it. The choice is ours. So these are some recommended resources as well that I wanted to share. There's this book, Halal Wealth, Invest Without Compromising Your Values. It's on Amazon and Kindle. I don't know if the hard copy is available, but I think if you put it online, you can easily find it. And then there's a website called IslamicFinanceGuru.com, IFG. They are based in the UK, and they have a YouTube page where they share a lot of information about the newer developments in the Islamic financing space. They have a website. They have tons of resources, a lot of free resources that we can all benefit from. So thank you very much. Thank you. I hope you've been able to pick one or two things. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much, Sis Hamida. Jazakumullah khairan. I'm sure that everyone has gone or has taken one thing or the other in. So before we jump right into the Q&A, because I know that we're running a bit back, but we're not doing too badly, to be honest.
Yeah.
Right. So I have a feedback survey. I want you guys to please give us feedback on this session. Right. So I'm just putting in the link in the chat box now. It's just going to take maybe 2 minutes or 1 minute to fill. Right. So just give us feedback on this. Let's see how we can improve and all that. Then we'll go straight into the Q&A. So please try and fill the survey, please. So Aisha said, financial knowledge overload. Well, mashallah. So I have put the link in the chat box. So please just take out 1 minute of your time to fill the survey so that we can make subsequent sessions better, inshallah. Just after like currencies, like in fact, I'm blown away, Yeah, so for everyone that joined the call, yes, you will get the replay. Yeah. Thank you so much. All right. So please let me know once you are done with filling the survey. Just say done. Yeah. So we can go right into the Q&A so that we just save time. But please fill the survey. It helps a lot. I'm going to paste it again, and yeah, we can start the Q&A, inshallah. All right. So are you ready for me?
Yes, I am, inshallah.
All righty. Okay.
So Assalamualaikum. I can access the chat room.
Oh, you can't? Can everyone else see the chat room? Because I really don't.
If I can join from my phone.
What'd you say?
I was asking her if she's joining from a phone.
From the phone.
You might need to click on the chat.
Yes,
button.
It's up. Yes.
Okay, is there anyone else joining from
Click
the phone?
up on your screen.
Okay.
She should click up on her phone, on the tab up. Just click up, then you see the chat box with a red dot.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're
What's
welcome.
the laptop? You can't really see the experience that you are getting. So yeah. All right. So with the Q&A, so the first question that I have is Karima says, what would you say is better for people without a lot of money to buy? High stocks like these companies, and how do we access such stocks? So I think she's talking about like Apple, when you were on the slide on like Apple and the likes, right? So she said that, would you recommend we buy this type of stocks, and how do we access such stocks?
Okay. So the thing is, when you say without a lot of money, actually, if you are just starting, I would recommend that you start with if you are new on your investment journey, I would recommend that you start with the low risk types of investments. You see, because if you had started investing in stocks last year with the kind of numbers that with kind of bearish stock market that we have now, you would have been discouraged. I can tell you that. So when you're just starting and you don't have a lot, I would advise that you build up. You start with the mutual funds, because investing is also a very patient, is a very patient process, a very slow and patient process. So when you start with, when you put all your resources in the high risk, during the times of volatility, you can easily get discouraged. So my advice would be start with a low risk, build it up for some time. The stock market is not going anywhere, right? If you are able to do some division, maybe putting 80% in low risk and doing 20%, that's also an option, depending on how much you have, right? But that would be my advice. Do more of the low risk when you're just starting out. So as you see that build, and inshallah, Allah would increase your risk as well. And then over time, you can now start diversifying, because by then you're more encouraged, you're seeing the returns, even though they might be small, but at least you're not putting money in a stock today. Next week, it goes down 30%, which can happen. And then you're like, oh my God, what just happened? And then you stop investing for the next 5 years, right? So that would be my advice, really.
Okay, thank you so much. So I just wanted to ask a question based on that as well. So we hear that, okay, now it is bearish, the stock market is bearish, right? So, and you hear a lot of people say that it's also a good time for people to come into the market. So do you think that is, fairly correct?
Yes. So the bearish period, it means that more people are selling. So it's like supply, it's like the law of demand and supply. So when more people are selling than buying, the market becomes bearish. But what then happens is that a lot of stocks that were trading at very high prices, they've they are at lower prices. So if you, for example, the Apple stock was trading at around 150 something dollars last year. Now is around 130 something dollars. So will it go up again? The answer is yes. Nobody knows when, but it's like when something is on sale, you can get it at high prices. Just like you go to ShopRite, you see a sale sign, and then you want to just get as many as possible before they end the sale. So a bearish market is like a sale market. Yes, nobody knows when the bearish market will end, but it can end anytime. It can end next week. It can end end of the year. And then those that are bought at those low prices would make more capital appreciation than those that now come when it goes back to 154. You get what I mean? Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. All right. So the next question is, Sis Hadiza said, when you were talking about the commodities market, right? She said, isn't this some sort of hoarding? That is like storing food items. Isn't that some sort of hoarding? You see?
Yeah, that's a good question. So for the commodities, really, I think the way they operate, and of course, Allah knows best, but the way they operate is that when things are in very, when you have a lot of things, like you have plenty onion, is the season of the onions. Typically, some people, instead of what you have, especially with perishable goods, don't forget that all these commodities are perishable, right? So what you would have is that whatever is not stored would waste, right? Whatever is not stored, that extra would have wasted. So what these people have done is that they have invested in storage. So at a point where it is now, so it's not like the supply is constant throughout the year. I think that's when the principle of hoarding will apply, right? When something is always, you always have five throughout the year. When you now go off and buy all those 5 and you don't allow people to buy, then I think it becomes a problem. But when you have something that maybe in January you have 20 of it in the market, and if people can only consume 10 at that point, right? And then you buy extra, those extra that would have wasted because people cannot consume it, you buy it and you keep, when you bring it out, when the supply has reduced to 3, for example, what you're actually doing is making sure that people have more, because the supply is not constant throughout the year for all these food products, because they are commodities. Some of them thrive during the rainy season, some of them thrive during the dry season. So that's the natural way of commodities. Sometimes you have it in plentiful supply, sometimes you have it in very low supply because of factors that are beyond anybody's control. And one thing I would also like to add is that Marble Capital, like I said, they have a commodities fund. So, and I know that Marble Capital, for every single investment they do, they have a board of Sharia advisors, that would look at all the, all the circumstances and certify whether that investment, fits in with the rules of Sharia. So that was actually, even personally myself, that was why I started investing with them, for commodities, because they have scholars that have looked at all the conditions and have certified it.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so I can't remember the person who asked this, but she said, how does your family access the stock investment after your demise? Either is it from the app or from the company? How do they access your investment?
Okay, so that's a very good question. I mean,
Such a forward-thinking person.
Yes, absolutely. we are not going to be here forever, and I think that begs the importance of wills in Islam. I think there's a verse of the Quran, or maybe the Hadith, I'm not sure, that says that a Muslim should not even sleep for one night without having a will, right?
No.
And
No.
the way everything will be distributed, has also been the Sharia has also specified how the will should be. So as long as you have a will, that has listed all your assets, right? I don't think there should be any problem of family members having access to one's investments after one's demise.
Okay. So in that case, is it that you give them like so if we are investing via an app now, how do you get your returns? Do you get it into your account, or is it that you have to give them access to that account?
Yeah, so, well, I would think that, I mean, if the every single thing has all the investment medium, they are companies. Let's not forget that they are companies, and yes, they are operating through apps, but they are also companies. They are like full companies with communication, with emails, with you know, with structures such that in the case of demise, they would have their own. So I think it would be a case of the inheritors, reaching out to them and showing evidence of, just like when people die, their property, the only way they have property is with the documents, right? So once everything that is listed in the will, I'm believing would, you can reach out to the company and send them that, okay, this is this is the next of kin, and we would like to do this, do that. And so that's the way I see it, really.
All right, fantastic. All right, so Rodia says, is it better to use these platforms instead of stockbrokers like Meristem, WSTC, etc.?
So what I would say is that Meristem, I think they are a stockbroking company. So if you want to buy the stocks individually, and I know they mostly do Nigerian stocks. So if you want to buy in the individual stocks, I mean, by all means, I don't think one is better than the other. You can what's all these apps as well, what they have done is to make it closer to the people. I don't know how Meristem operates, but as long as you know what you're doing, you know what stock you're buying and what stock you're selling, and if you just use a method that works for you, really, I don't think one is better than the other. I like the apps because it's easy. I don't need to go to anybody's office. I can do it from my phone. But we also have people that don't like doing transactions on their phone, like my parents. They will still go to the bank, so
yeah,
they might prefer that. So it's just what's convenient for you. But as long as they are doing the same thing, I don't think anyone is better than the other.
Okay, fantastic. Sadia says, please, how do I buy ETFs on Passfolio? Are they the same with stocks?
Okay, so ETFs are not the same with stocks because ETFs are a basket of stocks, right? So I think I shared that during my presentation as well. So if you have a Passfolio account, do we have time to share it again?
Tiny, we need time.
Tiny, we need time. Okay. Okay. So if you, where's my screen? I hope I can find it. Where are you now? Okay, I think it's here. So this is my, okay, good. So this is my Passfolio account. So if you have a Passfolio account, there are just 2 Sharia compliant ETFs on Passfolio. So we have SPUS. So if you have a Passfolio account already, just look for SPUS, which I shared was a basket of stocks, and buy. Once you've put money in your account, of course. And then the other one I think is SPRE. No, it's SPSK. Yeah, this is the second one. So this one is like a global Sukuk ETF as well, also on Passfolio. And once you funded your account, you can just buy it. These are the 2 they have for now, and I'm hoping they had more in the future. because we have like 5. But it's easy. You can, those are the 2 that we have as far as ETFs are concerned, and you can easily go in there to buy.
Okay.
Once you
Talking
funded
about
your
funding. Talking about funding, is it that we just use like our Naira, normal Naira? Because I know there are lots of like restrictions on like cards. So is it they would now convert it to dollars for us, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
on portfolio, you can see their exchange rates. Let me show you quickly. So I think unfortunately our dollar is not a very reliable, our Naira, sorry. Our Naira, I'm claiming the dollar already.
Dollar, yes.
Our,
So
our Naira is not a very reliable instrument. So you can see that as of today, $1 is 605 Naira. So if you want to deposit on the app, there's a place where wallets, yeah. So you just go to wallets, you see, you deposit, and they have a Naira account where they will do the calculation for you, and you see how much you put to get the equivalent. So once you click on deposits, yes, you deposit in your stock wallets. So look at the value here, for example. So if you put 75,000 Naira, you are credited with around $121. So they charge a fee of 1.4% for the conversion, and then Passfolio also charges a fee. So you will see all the fees. It's very transparent, and you'll see how much will be deposited into your account. And if you do it within the hours of, I think, 12 and 6 or so, you get value immediately, and you can start trading.
okay. Bello Shukrat, you wanted to ask a question? You want to unmute and ask quickly?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to say thank you so much for this session. And when she was speaking about like those who bought stocks a while back and then lost all their money, I'm on that table. So like,
oh, wow.
Really bad, because I don't open the app, and just before Ramadan I was very broke, and I was like, let me just see, and then I was like calculating it back to Naira, and I was like, what Jono? Like
Oh my
it was that
goodness.
bad. And I wanted to say, like, is there a way to like prep your mind for this thing? Because honestly, the mindset I went to was like I was going to be rich once I just put my money there. Like, and then I was so broke, and then I needed money, and I knew not to withdraw the money or sell at that point. But I was very, very, very disappointed. And so that's my first question. Like, how do I, even now, like you were saying we should buy now, and I'm like, I'm not going to put my money there. And my second question is, like, what percentage of your income should go to like emergency fund? And how do you stop yourself from like taking it? Because I just lump all the monies together. And once I need money, so there's no structure, there's no anything. I save, I try to invest. But once I need money, all money is money, we spend everything. So like that. So is there like something to guide like the spending process, and to just, I don't know, not spend all your money just because you save and all that? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sorry about your experience, but yeah, inshallah, Allah will replenish and it will get better. Okay, I think Sister Rashida said she wanted to ask a question, so that would be last question for now, because I'm watchful of the time because of Salah as well, right? So, Sister Rashida, can you unmute yourself and ask your question, because we still have about 5 questions that I had noted down previously as well, so she can take it together. Okay, I think she went out. Okay, you can answer to that, Sis Hamida, and maybe while I think she dropped off, so while she gets in, yeah.
Okay, so first of all, please, I know for people that just started, personally, my portfolio is in the red. You don't want to know how many percentage it is, but first of all, it's a long-term mindset. And I think that's where, as human beings, we tend to, when you put money in the stock market, have a 5-year horizon. That's the first thing. Once you have a 5-year horizon and be prepared for all the volatility, it will go up, it will come down, it will go up, it will come down. So your mindset is this thing. So anything you would need in the next 2 years, please don't put it in the stock market. That's the first thing. Now, if you have not sold, you have not lost. Please, if you have not sold that stock back, you have not lost, because that stock, you can sell it today at a loss, and then in the next 6 months, it now makes the profits and everything. And you're like, oh my God, what just happened? So if you have not sold it, please keep it. Like you said, I'm hoping it's money that you don't need at the moment, right? And then just leave it. If it's a stock that you had confidence in by buying and nothing has changed with the company, it's a good time to buy more, actually, because what that would do is that it will reduce your average. They call it dollar cost averaging. So if you bought the first one at $100 and now it's down, you buy at $50, as long as it's a good company, please, because there are some companies that if you had bought just because everybody was buying, there was time they were buying GME, some of these meme stocks that are not valuable companies, those ones can go from 100 to 0, right? But if it was a valuable and good company that you bought, if you buy now that is 50, what it has done is that it will reduce your average costs to 70. So you would make profit faster than if you wait till it goes above 100, right? So that's dollar cost averaging. So it depends on what type of company it was. But until you sell again, you have not made a loss, right? About the emergency funds, I would advise that there's a reason why we have different types of mutual funds with different companies. So you can also say that, okay, I want to keep some with Stanbic, I want to keep some with Lotus, I want to keep some with in different funds for this reason, so that what you have as an emergency fund is strictly for emergencies. And unless it is an emergency, you're not supposed to go and be taking money from it, which is part of what we talked about, planning in advance. You can have another fund for your living expenses, maybe your rent, you're saving for a car and all of that. So personally, I use the different I leverage the fact that we have multiples. We have Stanbic, we have Lotus, we have Marble, we have, I think FBN also has one mutual fund. So just know what is in where, so that you don't use the emergency fund for something else. That would be my advice. Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right. So Aisha says, do you need to invest monthly in the stock market, or the timeline for or is there a timeline for investing in the stock market?
Timeline. The stock market has been there since over 100 years ago, and I mean it's going to be there. So when you say timeline, what I would say is that for newer investors, when the market, like right now, is a bearish market, is a good time, because it's going to, once the economy recovers, is the US, the economy.
Is it just me that cannot hear?
Internet is
yeah. Okay, I can. You're back now.
Okay, I'm back. Okay.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's the US stock market. They have one of the best economies in the world, and the economy will always recover. And then when it recovers, it is those that invested at this point where things were looking shaky that would reap the highest returns. It's as simple as that. But having a long-term mindset, knowing that this is what I'm investing in, choosing the right companies, the right ETFs as well. Those are all the factors you want to look at.
Okay. She also says that as an experienced investor, which of the apps will you suggest to maybe start investing? I'm thinking this is for stocks now. So which of the apps will you suggest?
Yeah, so personally I use Bamboo and Passfolio, but I do more of Passfolio because they are commission free. So when I was showing you Passfolio, in addition to all the costs they will charge for the exchange rates and all of that, Bamboo will still charge, I think, 1.5% on every trade. So every time you buy and every time you sell, they will charge 1.5, 1.5. That's 3% extra. Passfolio does not charge when you trade. So I use more of Passfolio because, of course, that 3% is something. So, yeah. So, Passfolio, I think their own fees they don't have fees. They only charge you for the exchange fees and all of that. They don't charge you for trading.
Okay. And Karima says she's curious. So how much do I need to buy one Apple stock? And secondly, are there high risk investments that don't cut into your investment capital? I'm not sure I understand. Do you understand the question?
I do.
Okay.
I do. So Apple stock. So the good thing about these apps is that they offer what we call fractional investing. So you don't need to have $150 before you can buy an Apple share. Just put in the amount of dollars that you have. So they've also democratized stock investing. So even if it's $50 that you want to spend, they will give you the number of the decimal fraction of shares that your $50 can buy. Unlike before, where if you don't have the money for the full share, you can't invest in the share. So that's the good thing about these apps. Just if it's $100 if you want to buy 5 shares, or you want to buy 2 ETFs and 1 share, you can allocate the money and just type it in, the amount you want to spend on each share, and they would easily give that to you. You'll see it immediately. You place the order on your app.
Okay, fantastic. And so, Sister Rashida, we are done with the questions that people asked prior. So, Sister Rashida, do you want to ask your question now?
Yeah, I have the other question from Karima about high risk investments.
Oh, yeah.
Cut into your investment capital.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to eat your cake and have it. So when she said high risk, I mean.
Okay, so I think your network is. She said yes. I think the network. Is it just me that cannot hear Sister Hamida?
Not just.
Hello. Okay, she's frozen. Yes, I think her network is having. Hopefully, she's able to get back soon.
Yeah.
Just say yes that you wanted to.
I'm thinking she's talking about.
Okay, back.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. You're back.
Okay, the network is. Yeah. So
we stopped at where you said she wanted to eat a cake and have it.
Honestly, what I would recommend if you are looking for high return investments, that what I do for my high risk investments is the investments in the Smart Halal Investor Club. So Nigerian businesses, the returns are pretty decent, but they're also high risk because they are not. It's not. They are businesses. It's like you're investing in other people's business. Even despite all the due diligence, anything can still happen, right? But again, so far, alhamdulillah, I think they've been pretty, good with the investments that they share to the investor club. So their own returns range from, double digits. I don't think they have anything less than 15%. Like they have 15% in 6 months, 17% in 6 months, 25% in 6 months. Those are I'm hoping those are the type of numbers that you're looking for. If you are looking for 300% in 2 days, please run. If it sounds too good to be true, then it's too good to be true. So I hope those are the type of, but if you are looking for 100% in 10 days, I don't know where they do those type of investments. So.
Yeah.
But I think you should check out the Smart Halal Investor Club if you have the risk appetite for it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Sister Rashida, are you here? Do you want to ask your question?
Yes, please. Assalamu
All
alaikum
right.
warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Assalamu warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much for this this session. I wanted to ask the investment in the app, is it like Bitcoin, like the risk and returns? And would you say Bitcoin is haram or halal? There has been some arguments back and forth about Bitcoin being halal, being haram, and I wanted to
I think your network
Yeah, I think our line has dropped off again.
has dropped off. I think the network is so bad.
Second question would be,
You're breaking.
Maybe you should type the question if that would be better.
Yeah, please type the second question in the chat. I think the first one you got the question about
Bitcoin. Yes. So Bitcoin is still because it's a newer form of investment. There are scholars that think that it's halal and there are scholars that think no, it's not permissible. And both the permissible camp and the non-permissible camp, they have their own reasons. So I would not say categorically that, oh, yes. I think at the end of the day, you just need to read up about, I think even Professor Alaro, everybody, I think is very popular in the Muslim community. I think he also did a talk about it. So maybe if you go online, you might want to listen to that as well. But at the end of the day, it's an individual decision to make. Now, do I invest in Bitcoin? The answer is yes, I do. I do invest in Bitcoin, but again, Allah knows best. At the end of the day, look at the scholars read about what the scholars say about it, and then make your own decision.
Okay, fantastic. So I think that we have gone through over 2 hours. I mean, I need to shout out to the people that came in even before 1 o'clock. I mean, you guys, thank you so much. Thank you. And I hope this session has been valuable. Can somebody agree with me that everybody that did not join this session, we had over 100 people register for this thing, and many of them did not show. If I should say I'm going to sell this thing now, will I be wicked? Will I be wicked? Someone should let me know in the chat section. Will I be wicked? Because I know we sent lots of reminders and all that. So shout out to you guys for coming. Like Sister Hamida said, this is the first step, right? It's not just about learning, but you also want to implement quickly, so that now that the ginger is still there, you just got fresh knowledge, or you just refreshed your memory. You really want to go into. I would have loved if maybe we can even if some of us is just register on the platform first or something. But I do know that we are short of time, and I don't want Salah time to come and meet us here again as well, right? So that's why I really want us to wrap it up. Okay, since Rashida says investing with investment banks doesn't necessarily pose a risk of any riba.
Yeah, so it depends on the type of investment that you're doing. The investment, if you can be more specific, it might help. Like I showed at some point during the presentation, if it's Stanbic IBTC, for example, they have both the Sharia compliant funds and the ones that are, open to everybody, that are not specified. So one thing I would say is that assume every investment with a bank or an investment bank, assume that it is not Sharia compliant unless they specify it on that on the documentation. It has to be there. So if it's not there, it most likely means that they are not it's not Sharia compliant, or they are not taking that into consideration. So I think it will be important to ask them if it's a licensed Nigerian investment bank. You can ask them that, is this, but if it's not on the name of the investment, it's most likely that is not Sharia compliant. And of course, they will not structure it in a way that will prevent you from any riba.
Okay. Alrighty, Jazakumullah Khairan. Thank you all for the feedback. Thank you to everyone that has filled the feedback form. Please, if you haven't filled it, please fill it. I'll also send it as a follow-up email after this. But I'm curious, one question, right? How confident are you to actually, okay, if you've not invested, like maybe in the stock market or anything before, how confident are you now? On a scale of 1 to 10, you can just drop it in the chat box just to have a feel of, okay, do you feel like now that you've heard all these things, how likely are you to now act on this knowledge, so that I'll know whether we'll go and drag Sister Dupe again to come, and I don't know, maybe we'll come to your houses to carry your phones or something to press the money. I don't know, but that's the whole thing, right? Just don't want to sit down, because there are many webinars like this where you sit down and you get all the knowledge and everything, but once it's done, after 1 or 2 days, the high comes down and you're back to the same thing, right? All right, so we have six in stock market, 6 highly. Shakira says with hand holding from someone who is on hand to advise, 7. Aisha says 9. Okay. Bilkis says 7, although I'll check out all her pointers. Yes, please. I mean, this quite encouraging. I know it's not something that you can do like off the bat like that. It's quite scary, because for me, in my head now, I'm just like, with all the things that are going on, shouldn't I just carry my money and put it under the bed? Let me people know that I'm seeing my money face to face like this. But yeah, it's when we have that mindset that it's long term, and we know that, we understand that there's risk associated with investing, but we also know that how did I say, you get reward for the risk, right? So if you just keep it safe, it's not really going to help you over the long run. Just remember, compounding over time, that's where like the value is. That's the real value. So may Allah make it easy for every one of us. May He continue to provide. He has already promised that He's going to give us our risk, right? And we are not here to just say, okay, we just want to make money for no reason. There are a lot of reasons why we want to make money. There are some, for our families. Some of us just want to be able to be good, to do the things that Allah has told us to do, right? Give alms to the poor, help the orphans, help ourselves, because at the end of the day is what I think there was it's either an hadith or one of the verse that I read, that is only what you spend in this life that is your own, really. But you also should not leave your family members stranded, right? You should also keep something for them, right? So it's very important that we take this seriously. It's not just about amassing wealth for the fun of it. Is actually looking at what can you do without wealth when you have it, right? Some of us have ambitions. We want to, have charity organizations. Those are the things that money would help you to do. So it's not just about, I just want to serve God and go to the Akira. Yes, we all want to go there, but there are some certain things that we have to do here that also contribute towards our Akira, and money just makes it a bit easier to do. So whatever your why is, take it. For some of us is really like, our family, we really want to try and break out of this cycle of, poverty. For some of us, it's just, I have a lot of things I want to do. I really want to open up this charity. I really want to support this group of people, right? Some people want to travel the world, whatever it is, just make sure that you keep purifying your intentions, and Allah will make it easy for every single one of us. I also want to say that if there's anything that any one of us has said that might be wrong or anything, may Allah forgive our sins, whether we have said it in error, may Allah forgive our sins. Do we have any final words before we call it a day? Do you want to say thank you? You can unmute yourself and, say thank you to Sis Hamida, or share anything you want to share so we can wrap it up. Okay.
Jazakallah khairan. Thank you so much for the session. May Allah reward you. Thank you. I usually attend things like this, and yours was really distinct because you showed us a lot of options. They usually just tell you.
No, just went up.
Mm.
Yeah, the network
Was
just
new
went. Okay.
insight and new ways to look at things. Thank you very much.
So that's
You're
like her.
welcome. Well, yeah.
All right. So for everybody that joined, I will also share the replay to everyone that joined here live, right? So we'll share the replay, inshallah, so that you can also look at it. But again, take action while the ginger is still there, while it's still hot. Please take action. All right. Jazakumullah khairan, Sister Hamida. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for sharing your wealth of knowledge and making it as practical as possible. May Allah reward you, and may you continue to bless you, your family, and every single one of us that are also on this call and our families. Right. So on that note, I'd like to say the dua for when we are leaving or after a gathering, so that at the end of the day, the intention is this is for Allah, right? So Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum, sisters. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.